Good morning and welcome to this edition of Taking Stock. Sukkot, the commonly called the Feast of the Tabernacles, or in some biblical translations the Festival of Shelters, it is a really important Jewish holiday. The Feast of Ingathering, Sukkot. This week I read an article by the former chief rabbi, Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, about Sukkot, and I was so moved by it that I want to share it with you now. Jonathan Sacks writes, Sukkot is the festival of insecurity. It is the candid acknowledgement that though there is no life without risk, yet we can face the future without fear when we know we're not alone. I'm going to stop there and just say that's what hooked me. That's what pulled me into this reading. That this is a festival of insecurity and a candid acknowledgement that there is no life without risk. Which is exactly, people, where we are, isn't it? We're facing a life that seems so strange. With risks everywhere, but actually there've always been risks everywhere. We've just been kind of blinkered from them maybe sometimes. But as Jonathan Sacks writes, we face a future that can be without fear when we know we're not alone. I'm going to carry on and leave the rest of the chatter up to Jonathan Sacks. God is with us. In the rain that brings blessings to the earth, in the love that brought the universe and us into being, and in the resilience of spirit that allowed a small and vulnerable people to outlive the greatest empires the world has ever known. Sukkot reminds us that God's glory was present in the small portable tabernacle that Moses and the Israelites built in the desert, even more emphatically than in Solomon's temple with all of its grandeur. He writes, a temple can be destroyed, but a sukkah broken can be rebuilt again tomorrow. Security is not something we can achieve physically, but it is definitely something we can acquire mentally, psychologically and spiritually. All it needs is the courage and the willingness to sit under the shadow of God's sheltering wings. More than most, whether in the land of Israel or elsewhere, Jews have known the full force of insecurity, yet with its genius for the unexpected and its ability to rescue hope from tragedy, Judaism declared this festival of insecurity to be the season of our rejoicing. For the Sukkot, that quintessential symbol of vulnerability, turns out to be the embodiment of faith. The faith of a people who 40 centuries ago set out on a risk-laden journey across a wilderness of space and time with no more protection than the sheltering existence of the divine presence. To know that life is full of risk and yet to affirm it, to sense the full insecurity of the human situation and still to rejoice. This, for me, he writes, is the essence of faith and the heart of Sukkot. Judaism is no comforting illusion that all is well in the dark world. It is instead the courage to celebrate in the midst of uncertainty and to rejoice even in the transitory shelter of the Sukkot, the Jewish symbol of home. I found that so inspiring. Sukkot, the shelter, the place where God's people realise God's presence. I love that line that the temple can be destroyed, but the Sukkot, if it's took apart, can be put back together the next day. People, we need to rediscover this ancient aspect of the faith that holds us. the Feast of the Tabernacles, the Feast of Shelters, the Feast of Ingathering. Have a think about that this week. If you're able to and that way inclined, put that phrase into your Google search, or other search engines are available, and type in Feast of the Tabernacles images and have a look how temporary this shelter is. And then allow God to imprint on your heart the faith that will hold you fast through these days. That God is with us and that there is hope now and forevermore. Amen. God bless you.